again, y'all, old Moneybags is here with me. I brought Moneybags in because, Paul, where's that penny I've been saving? Lord
Did it
have
get lost
mercy.
somewhere?
Hard times have hit, and somebody has got my penny. Now, I keep a penny here to remind me that things are bad, but they're not quite as bad as we thought. I always have a penny laying here, and I'll be dadgum if somebody hadn't got my penny. I said yesterday, my great-grandfather had a little saying. If steamboats were a penny apiece, all I could do was run up and down the riverbank and say, ain't they pretty? There are a lot of people today who would love to invest if they had any money left.
Yes.
Some people lost it all. Been a very, very, very tough time. And you have seen people devastated.
Yes.
At an older age. But you're helping them start over. Even people like me who really goofed. You are saying there is still recovery.
Yes, and that's one of the things that I was talking to you about this morning before we started was, you know, when the facts change, you've got to change your mind. And you have to change your opinion, and you can be wrong. It's okay to be wrong. We're going to be wrong in life, but it's not okay to stay wrong. And one of the things that we're anticipating and looking at is, I was telling you, I was expecting an economic slowdown this summer, you know, the markets to struggle a little bit, probably into August, but right now, I'm not too sure whether we're going to continue to see that weakness into August for a couple reasons. Number one, you know, everyone is incredibly pessimistic. And
And do we have reason to be? Are we just because we can't get out of the funk that we've been in? Because everybody's kind of been in that, ooh.
Well, you know, there's a couple things that are causing that. Number one, this has not been a very quick economic recovery. It's not been as strong as what we've seen in the late 80s or the late 1990s. You know, we went through the recession in the early part of this decade, 2000, 2002. That was technology, but real estate, especially in our area, was booming and starting to reach that, you know, a dramatic move up. So there was something to bail people out.
You said a magic word. Real estate was the deal maker for so many people.
Yes.
Real estate was the deal breaker for so many people.
Yes.
Because me and 5,000 of my closest friends invested in a lot of real estate. Honey, that stuff done bellied up.
Right.
It is so bad, but we see it coming back a little bit.
Yes.
Just a little bit, a little here, a little there. Some new housing's coming on, but we need to get rid of the normally priced, not those deals on the courthouse steps, just the average home.
Yes.
But folks need to get their money back out of their homes.
They do, and unfortunately, real estate, I think, is going to struggle for another couple of years because we do
I
have...
don't like that.
I know.
I don't like that.
We do have a lot of headwinds.
So I'm not gonna mind.
Now, we may have already reached the bottom in real estate prices. Locally, I'm really not so convinced that that's the case, just because of the fact.
Margin as far as how many homes in Pickens County went into bankruptcy. I know in Forsyth County there were 42 pages of bankruptcies and of foreclosures in the newspaper. Did Pickens ever hit a level, anything like that?
I'm really not sure. That's some data that I'm not kept up with. I'm looking more at a national area and then just kind of
Do you ever open the paper to see?
I do. I flip through the pages, but I refuse to read because I don't want to know
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It is heartbreaking.
It is. And it's, you know, but that brings us also to a point here. You know, one of the things that we know, and you're old enough to know, and I have, life always
I'm
old enough to know. You know, that's the bad thing about live TV. Is life throws us curveballs. And the question is not if you're going to fall down, but it's if you're going to get back up.
Right.
What do you do afterwards? So the thing that I can say is we can't change yesterday. We can spend so much time thinking about it that it affects us going forward, and it keeps us, if we spend too much time grieving over that loss, keeps us from picking ourselves up, accepting what is, and doing the best that we can do in the future and learning from our mistakes. So, you know, one thing that I can say is, you know, nothing's more important from what I see in portfolio management than adaptation. And, you know, things change, and your portfolio and your life plan needs to change to reflect that. So the thing that I can say to everybody out there is, yeah, you know, real estate prices are going to struggle for the next couple of years because of the fact that we have another huge wave of mortgages being reset, because of the fact that the local banks here still have the 80 cents on the dollar, whatever the FDIC guarantee is to them, and they've got a lot of inventory that they need to get rid of. But we also need to look at the long-term impact too, that right now, new construction is well below population growth. So at some point in the future, we're going to see a rebound in real estate prices very similar to taking a basketball in a pool, since we're in summer, dropping that under the water, and once the headwinds are gone, it'll jump back and then resume, long-term growth.
I still, for all the fatal mistakes I made in real estate, I still see it as a great opportunity.
Yes.
And for people who might have, and if y'all have got my penny, don't spend it on real estate yet.
Hey, somebody took it for the copper, it's
Yeah, well, I don't doubt that either. But I still see, especially in our area, because we are the place to be.
Yes.
People are fleeing from all those other places they lived, and they are fleeing to these beautiful North Georgia mountains. I see the realtors doing well again.
Well, I've heard, the real estate agents that I speak with that they're making sales again. They have some contracts that are coming through. And one of the things that I think that we're going to see over the next year and a half is a surprise in the strength of the underlying economic recovery. It's been very slow. It's been very dreary. People have a lot of reason to be pessimistic. And I think the stock market's going to have the ability to climb this wall of worry. And yes, it's going to be very volatile, but I think the path of least resistance from this point is higher. And there is your penny.
I got a penny back. Jennifer brought me a penny. Jennifer Bandana brought me a penny. I don't feel so broke now.
Now
Lord,
this
y'all
is
just
a-
don't know. This has been my security blanket. And it truly is over something my grandfather said, because it doesn't matter how good times are, if you have nothing,
Right.
you can't reinvest. Now,
Yes.
I'm looking at the having nothing kind of thing. I can't recover yet, but I see, in 10 months, I'm really seeing some things beginning to happen. And I am going to, I declared this the year of recovery. And you were supposed to have agreed with me, and you were supposed to have made it happen. Well, stock market's doing well. Housing is coming back a little. I've seen some, the places like Lowe's, Home Depots, I've seen some deliveries going out of there. That's something that didn't happen for a long time. The building supply companies have finally started loading those trucks again.
Yes.
I really do see this is the year of recovery.
It is, I think that it's going to continue to grow and surprise, like I was saying a minute ago, and that's going to be good because it's going to take some pressure off of us here locally. Now, we still have some long-term issues that we need to deal with and we need to address. One thing that our area needs, we are an incredible destination.
Boy, are we not the coolest place to be?
We really are. We're close
Yeah.
to Chattanooga. We're close to Atlanta. We have a small community atmosphere. You have, great seasons. You've got the beauty of just about everything in our area. Now, one thing that we do need to focus on, and that I've been a believer in and an advocate of for quite some time, is we really need to spend some time recruiting some manufacturing.
Right. Jobs. You go to the grocery store, and if you have a $140 paycheck, not much of it goes for groceries.
Yes.
We've got to have some good paying jobs.
We do, and and it's great to have a lot of the service sectors that we have here, but we need wealth creation. There's no reason why that our community leaders and our local politicians cannot be spending the majority of their effort trying to recruit new technology manufacturing plants. Just south of Atlanta a couple of years ago, 3,000 jobs were created in a solar panel manufacturing company. Why can't we get that? And the reason we can't get that is because there's not a focused effort there. We have everything to offer, much more than South Atlanta or middle Georgia does. From a quality of life standpoint, from an infrastructure standpoint. Of course, it's going to cost some infrastructure, but we need that, because imagine what our community would be like through this real estate slowdown if we already had 3,000 to 4,000, 3,000 high paying manufacturing jobs and skilled labor. Our community would be much healthier and in a much better position than what we are right now. We would be very similar to Texas and some of those other areas who from oil service and other local economic entities can help them get through this real estate crisis.
Okay, we have, I can think of 4 companies right now. One is the Crane Company down in Gober, which is very, very successful right now, doing great, great things. One is the Royston Corporation, which is just phenomenal.
Royston's doing great.
And then Chart Industries down in Canton, they're doing very, very well. And the old rubber plant here in Jasper, very, very busy. Those 4 manufacturers are busy, but total employees probably 1,000 between all 4 plants.
Right.
What does it take, 3,000 jobs? Could we provide 3,000 workers? Do we have 3,000 workers?
Well, the good part about that is we're close enough to Atlanta, Chattanooga, Dalton, and areas around us. North Georgia in general is hit hard. The workers will come here. Can we provide them? That's a good question if they're skilled. One of the problems that in the restaurant business may have sometimes is, can we get enough servers and skilled labor to
What
be
if
there?
BMW had relocated here? Could we provide what they needed? I hope so.
That's a good question. Yes, we can if we spend enough time thinking about it and recruiting it and develop a plan in place. Now, if they show up tomorrow and say, hey, we're interested in coming to this area, are we ready? I don't think so. The local chambers.
We need to get ready.
Yeah.
We need to get ready.
We need to have a plan, and a 5-year plan, a 7-year plan to get there. We're not going to get out of this overnight. You can't recruit these companies overnight. So can we handle it now? I don't know. Are we capable of handling it? Yes, we are.
Absolutely.
Yes, we are. And there's no reason why we shouldn't, because one thing that I can say is, what if real estate struggles for 10 years? What if real estate struggles for 15 years? What if the next greatest opportunity, because of the possibility of the dollar losing its reserve status, is manufacturing? Okay, if we are 1 or 2 steps ahead of all the communities around us or the states around us, then we are far better off in the long run, and we are far stronger to survive any other economic downturns or disruption that comes globally.
Right.
So there's no reason for us not to. It's just that the reason we haven't been is because real estate was the answer. Everybody believed real estate was going to continue to go forever, but
It was the answer. It was.
yeah. So I mean,
it just
imagine if we
was.
had 3,000 jobs that were paying $50,000 to $60,000 a year, and maybe that's unrealistic. This is
incredible.
just a scenario.
Yeah.
But what do you think housing prices would be right now? Because that's a lot of buyers for that $200,000 to $300,000 price range, which would dramatically turn around our local economy. So I think that's the key in the long run to really turn our community around. And if we develop a plan, we can pick and choose and go after the high-paying, technology-driven jobs or some of the others. We don't have to end up being Atlanta's dump, for example. That's not
What
gonna
if the
happen.
kids who are graduating and the adults who've gone back to school at Chattahoochee could stay, get a degree, and stay locally and work? Would that not be the coolest thing?
Oh, it would be wonderful. The likelihood of younger couples staying here that have pursued a college education and are educated is very low, because there's just not an employment base here. You've got to be in Atlanta to utilize your skills. So again, that would keep your kids at home, your grandkids at home, if we were to focus on this. So put pressure on your local leaders and your politicians, and and if they're not willing to develop a plan, then find somebody who is and encourage them to run for those positions, because we need some long-term thought process to get us out of where we are.
Jobs.
That's what it boils down to.
Yeah. Well, you and I I've watched the stock market. I've admitted all the failures I've ever made in front of everybody, and y'all know I'm just, when I ever go to the tattoo artist, it's going to say stupid right here on my forehead, because I did some stupid things. But I love the way that you encourage people to not accept failure and to start over again. And to start over again, we know the Oscar Poole story. At 59, he was bankrupt, and at 80, he's a gazillionaire. So, and is it because of barbecue, or is it because of great planning, and is it because of hard work and good ethics and the luck of the draw? I mean, he really has done well working himself to the bone, and it's paid off. So at 59, he was a total failure, so devastated, and today he's so successful.
Well, I believe that you make your luck, and hard work, the harder working people generate more luck, and I think a lot of it's attitude. Unfortunately, there's a lot of individuals that are sitting out there right now, and I can be guilty of this myself, is when we have something that we go through like real estate, you feel failure and rejection, and I'm just a horrible person, and making mistakes are one of the greatest tests of character that we can go through in our life.
I avoided my character bill last year.
And if you're wrong, you're wrong, but you can learn from those mistakes and continue to go. So tomorrow, we don't know what's going to happen. A nuclear bomb could go off in a city. We can't be worried about that. But today, we can choose to make decisions to better ourselves. And the second thing is you investors make the mistake of looking for the next greatest thing, or they
Okay,
completely
the
avoid
next
risk.
greatest thing.
Yes.
The next greatest thing might be, what do you think?
I don't know. It could be
Technology
a new
was the
technology.
thing.
Yeah.
Technology was the thing. A lot of people made money while Warren Buffett sat back and waited and waited and waited, and then finally invested when it tanked.
Yes.
Okay, smart man. God, he's a genius.
Now, well, let me put it this way. Warren Buffett is obviously a genius when you look at it from our side. But what I see is I have learned and committed myself to become an expert at what I do. Is what Warren Buffett has that most people don't have is a plan and discipline. He has rules by which he operates within, and you can see that. Now, he's not going to sit down and say, I have these rules and these are my rules. If I was him, I wouldn't share them either. But I remember how they were talking about, hey, he doesn't know how to do it anymore. Is he too old? You know, the news media was pretty harsh on Warren Buffett because he completely avoided technology. But technology didn't fit within his rules of investing, and he was disciplined enough to not participate in that. He didn't give in to the crowd. And that's what you have to do to be very successful in investing, and whatever that venture is you have to have a plan by which you know there's a high statistical probability of success. Now, what that's going to mean is you're going to be like Warren Buffett at times, and you don't look so smart because everybody's making all this money in technology, and he refused to participate in it. Well, he started buying technology companies 7 years later when everybody else had lost 90 to 100% of their investments. I don't know very many investors who weren't incredibly scarred by the technology meltdown. The reason is those investors chased headlines, and they made decisions based on emotions and not on a strategy or rules. The second thing is a lot of times you'll buy a good investment that operates under a specific strategy that underperforms. There are times that an investment underperforms, and in the investment business, a lot of times advisors refuse to implement a strategy like that because a client will fire you quicker over underperformance than they will losing money. But the key to being successful is having plans and being disciplined. That's really the key to anything else in life, too.
I think discipline is the one thing that I knew nothing about. And that is my failure, and I admit that. That is my failure. And we used, I got out my checking account, and I used the $446,000 9 years ago. Had you invested that money for me today, where would I be?
Be substantially higher than that.
Puke.
But let me say this. I want to say one thing about wording, because words have power. It wasn't a failure. I mean, you can say it was a failure, but it was a mistake. Okay, but do you have the capability from where you are now to make different decisions to recover?
Yes,
you do.
yes.
So as long as you have the capability to recover and make different decisions, then you sit down and develop a plan, and you say, you know what, I made those mistakes in the past. I didn't have a discipline. Maybe I need some help. I don't want to do taxes, so I hire a CPA so I can spend more time doing what I do for my clients. And let's work our way out of this. Accept where we are, what is, and let's go forward from here.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
And just like Oscar, you know, maybe if he hadn't have gone through what he went through, maybe he wouldn't have ended up where he is here and built such an incredible legacy and helped put LJ on the map for the majority of the people who come and see him.
I dare you to sit over there and watch traffic on 515. Now, I tell you, if you stand there in the middle of those trees and you glance at every single car passing, there's not one car that doesn't go, whoops, what is that?
Yeah, that's
whoops,
right.
So what is that? I mean, what a genius. What a genius. Because you have to, number one, draw attention to the good things you've done. And he did some incredibly good things. He started total failure in that little bitty dump, and it was a dump. You know, I mean, I can remember those first years. And it was nothing but hard work paid off. Hard work paid off.
And a great attitude. You know, and he has the greatest attitude, which is contagious. And so that's the way we have to look at it. Life's a challenge to overcome, and we can choose to stick our head in the sand and not see what's coming and get run over. You know, the Bible tells us that with much wisdom comes much sorrow. When you really open your eyes to look, there's a lot of things that could come about. But one of the great things about life is we can adapt and change. And if we don't hold on to the past to the point that we're walking backwards through the rest of our life, then we can better ourselves, and with the right opportunity, we can make those opportunities happen.
Well, and I've made this statement to myself 1,000 times and to many other people. if I hadn't, if I didn't, I shouldn't have. Why didn't I? What did you know? Whatever, it's done, it's over,
Right.
it's gone. There's nothing you can do about the past except look back and either laugh or cry.
Yeah,
So,
look, but maybe you need to do both.
yeah, I did.
Cry about it, grieve about it.
Yeah, and get over it.
But take something and learn from that and say, you know what, here's a rule that I'll develop. I'm not going to do that again.
Right,
I won't make that same mistake.
right.
But you also don't want to swing to the other side of the table too, you know,
And withdraw and be panic stricken.
panicked
No,
and
not
stricken.
me. No.
So you
that's
have
not
to
happening.
you have to reach out, you have to adapt. And one thing that I can tell you in learning is you have to carry some risk and diversification. I have seen people make all the right decisions and be wiped out.
Wow.
You know what? God will bring them through it. And it's a horrible thing to look at, but there's nothing that they could have done different, imprudent decisions, and have avoided what happened. But
Stock
they picked
market
themselves
yesterday was what? I didn't.
We're around 12.6 right now. You know,
Okay.
the interesting thing
Last
is...
time I looked, it was 12,243, I think.
Yeah, we
So,
had
yeah.
the best 5 days since 1998.
Wow.
And
Incredible.
And it really is amazing because of the
If
fact
people
that,
bought at 6,300, what was the bottom? Where did we hit?
ooh, that's a good question. I can't remember now. I know it was just around 7,000. I don't think we actually broke 6,000. Around
Okay.
7,400 was where the bottom was.
Okay, okay. If they'd bought at 7,400 and now we're at 12,600, a lot of money would have been made, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
Yeah.
you're about a 90% return from the bottom.
Right.
And but we're still about 15% off the high. And the problem is you know most investors still aren't back to where they were at the high, and the reason is you know a buy and hold. They just put it in there and they set it on the shelf, and it had no adaptation for a changing world. So, and then if you have been a risk manager, the past year and a half has been tough because the market has basically been playing Russian roulette
Right.
with some of the economic numbers, and the market's been pricing in perfection the economic recovery that we've been having.
Okay, have you seen, we've talked about the jobs that the tornadoes created, the jobs
Yes.
that the storms have created. Have you
Yes.
seen some companies who are doing well because you have to buy plywood now, you have to buy sheetrock now, you have to buy so many things? Have you seen some companies that are rallying purely because of destruction?
We're starting to see some of that, and you know, and the rebuilding is creating jobs. One of the things that I think that we're looking at, you had the economic situation in Japan, you had the tornadoes, the weather, which has depressed GDP, and the surprise is probably going to be on the backside of this year is a higher than number GDP for the rest of the year, and kind of making up because the trajectory of the global economy is up, and there is plenty to worry about, and there's plenty to be pessimistic about. But the fact of the matter is for now, the economic the path of least resistance for the economy is higher, and corporate earnings are strong. You know, corporate balance sheets are strong. You know, one thing that could derail the recovery in the short run is if the government plays chicken with the debt ceiling when we get to August. It's not that big a deal that they may technically default on the debt, but what is a big deal is if Standard & Poor's downgrades our government debt to a D rating like they said they would. That would start a fire sale of liquidation across the board. Now, that's one of the things that a lot of my clients are worried about right now. But I don't think it's a reality, and the reason I don't think it's a reality, I think that we'll probably get a last-minute deal, is the bond market. It should be, if the investors and insiders really believe this was going to happen, the bond market would be taking a massive hit right now,
Right.
and it's holding up fairly well. So there's going to be a lot of headlines, but hopefully our politicians aren't that foolish. Now,
Okay, major car dealers,
yes.
have they all recovered?
They're recovering strongly. You know, the interesting thing is what we don't see here as U.S. citizens in our local areas, depressed as it is, based on the data that I looked at the end of the year last year, there's more demand coming out of China, South America, and the rest of the world than there is the U.S. So they're global manufacturers now, and global demand is driving a lot of the U.S. Car companies. So they're doing well. They're doing well. Caterpillar's doing well. You know, Ford and GM. So
Well, I gotta say, because I buy gas a lot of times at the Quick Trip, and you're standing there pumping your gas, and you look over there at Vernie Jones Ford, it looks to me like they didn't know there was a recession. They didn't know there was a depression. They didn't know anything bad happened because that lot has been completely full the whole time. Is Ford one of the stronger companies? Has it held its own?
Well, it's held its own, and they have done well. You know, the thing that's impressive about Ford is they made it through without having to have any government intervention and bailouts, which is
Did that get them a little respect?
Which is very, and I think it gave them a lot of respect.
Yeah,
It did, from
yeah.
my standpoint, a lot of clients, that, people that I speak to.
Right.
So, So those are good things to come through, and it speaks to.
We want the U.S. car dealers to all do well.
Yes.
We all want to say, yes, it is made in America.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
And that's one of the things we need to get back to. You know, we have shipped our manufacturing globally, and that brings to light an issue which a client of mine referred to as the equalization of nations. You know, we've shipped all the manufacturing overseas, and we really need to get those back, and there's not a lot taking place in the political process to do that, because that's the real secret to creating the wealth. America was the leading manufacturer, and yes, we're creating massive amounts of technology, but we need to continue to focus on innovating and being the leaders of the world instead of the consumers of the world.
Okay, there's a Kia plant. Is it over in Alabama? I believe it
You
is.
know, I'm not exactly sure where that is. I
There's
drove
a
by it not too long ago.
BMW plant. Is it South Carolina?
South Carolina.
Yeah, and then the Kia over in Alabama. And is there the tire company that just came in over in near White, Georgia, on the way 411 over there? Huge, massive tire company. And I think it's a Japanese tire company, if I'm not wrong.
I'm not sure the
believe that's
details
right.
on that.
Huge plant. So there are so many jobs over there.
Right.
And that is within driving distance of our area.
Yeah, and see, that's one of the reasons why I say we really need to recruit manufacturing here, and that's something that we can go after.
Right.
You know, I mean, you go after, let's say, look at the technical individuals, the technical profession. You know, they like to hike, they like to bike, they like to be outdoors.
They like to spend money.
Yeah.
They like to go out and eat.
You know, what if we could have a division of Google or someone like that here, you know, bring high-paying jobs. Everything that we have to offer in our community targets these individuals. So let's play upon our strengths, and let's build a plan, and let's pick and choose the good ones. Do we want a paper mill here? Yeah, you know, probably not. If we had to take a paper mill here, that's better than nothing.
Right.
But none of us really wants to
smell
the odor.
acid.
You know,
and,
we're used to the chicken houses because they smell like money, but we don't want the...
They smell really like money to me.
Yeah, they do. But you know, that's where getting some focus, instead of having our politicians talk about all the stuff we're going to do, or I'm going to pave your driveway, or I'm going to do this, let's get somebody in there who's going to do something and who's going to develop a plan. And so what if they don't have the best personality in the world? I want somebody who's going to do something and who's going to care about our community and who's going to help us develop a plan and lead us out of what we're in right now. And I don't know how to do it, but I don't have to know how to do it right now, because if we put our minds together, we can figure this out.
Right. And I think that the whole key is jobs, number one. Jobs are the thing. And two, I would like to see people feel comfortable again about going out to dinner.
Yes.
About, you know, we're not going to talk about filling up your gas car thing, because dadgummit, it went up 7 cents again yesterday, which there's no excuse for and drives me crazy. What happened to the barrel of oil yesterday? Why did we
went
go
up,
7 cents?
and it's going to continue to go up, especially if global demand grows. One thing that I do want to say, because I know that you've got a busy morning this morning. Last month we talked about paying yourself first. And the state of the American saver right now is horrific, okay? And one of the biggest changes that we've seen financially over the past, from one generation to this, is a generation ago, you had state pensions, you had corporate pensions, you had company benefits. Today, it's your responsibility. So there's a lady by the name of Alicia Munell, the director for the Center of Economic Research, recently penned an article in Smart Money that lays bare how Americans are doing on the path to retirement. And she writes, in theory, a typical worker who ends up at retirement with earnings of slightly more than $50,000 and who contributed 6% annually steadily with an employer match of 3% should have about $320,000. In fact, the typical individual approaching retirements had only $78,000, far short of the simulated amount. Now, if you take that and you put it into an annuitized income, you're only talking about $400 a month on $78,000 if you spend up the principal over your lifetime and have a really good rate of return. The one thing you can control is changing your focus. It takes discipline to save. You know, I typically recommend 10% for most individuals, but 15% is probably not enough for some people. So make the decision today to adapt and change the behavior that we have to start saving and paying yourself first. Because one thing that I can promise you is when you get to retirement, there's no do-overs, because you're either going to be you know, you might choose to work longer, but what happens when the day comes that you can't work longer? And for some people, Social Security is going to be there, and for some people, it's not. So you can change the amount that you're saving and pay yourself first. That's the theme we've talked about. And don't just bury it in the backyard. We'll talk about that next month.
Can you walk around behind me every week on Friday and say, pay yourself first, stupid? You know, I never do that. I never do that because there are so many other things that have to be taken care of. So from now on, I want you to walk around behind me on Friday about 1:30 and say, pay yourself first, stupid.
Well,
if I
I'll be more encouraging than that. I'll be more encouraging than that. But let me put it this way. And here's the question: outside of God caring for us and loving us so much that Christ, His Son, died on the cross so that we could be restored in that relationship. Outside of God, who cares about you, really?
Right.
I mean, I care about people, and that's the reason I'm in my profession. But who cares about you more than you? Or your spouse or your family, but your spouse and your family can't pay your bills for you in retirement, because what if they get wiped out? You can't rely on that. So take care of yourself first. And it doesn't matter what it is. If it's $1, it's a place to start, okay? Rome, you know, a house is built by doing what? Cutting down trees, clearing the foundation. It's a little bit at a time. So start and develop a plan and a goal and get some accountability. I'm not very good at being the accountable person for clients because I don't like just beating them over the head. My profession's hard enough, and the conversation is to beat people over the head. But get some accountability and make a promise and a commitment to yourself that I will change and have some independence. Otherwise, you're going to be a slave to Social Security or the government or somebody else that's out there. So with savings comes freedom.
Yeah. Well, I hope that people look forward to you being here, and they are paying attention. They are listening. I've had people come up to me and say, could you really start investing at this age? And I said, yes, absolutely. Go and talk to a profestional.
It's
whether
amazing.
it be you or Calvin Rowland or whoever else is in the area, but get professional help, because I'm certainly not. I'm the dummy that lost it all and put it all into real estate, and it failed, and I'm sorry, and I hate that, darn it. But it happened.
It happens, but you know what? You've learned a lot. If real estate comes back again, you're experienced to where you can jump right on top of it.
Oh, I'm smarter than I was.
You're a little smarter than you were, and when the opportunity arises again, if it ever does, those lessons learned can go across the board. So maybe we don't take as much debt as we did. Maybe we're a little bit more conservative. Maybe it takes time. But as long as you are living and breathing, and you can pick yourself up, you can put away yesterday, ask God for help, develop a plan, and say, this is where I'm going.
I'm going.
Life is about choices. And if we choose to have a better attitude and go in the right direction, then we can be all that we can be. We can be all that God created us to be.
That's it. That's it. And I think that's the thing. Do not accept failure. No matter what you've done, do not accept failure. And I said, there's so many small businesses who closed their door this year, and that hurt me more than anything. But there are still 27 million small businesses out there. 27 million people with 2 people in the next election can turn it around.
That's right.
So, you know, you never know where we're going. You never know where we're going. Well, I don't want to say goodbye to you, but it's something we're going to have to do, because we've got a couple of birthdays, and then we're going to our sponsors, and then we're going to bring on, here we go. We've got a busy day. We've got Lucy Harris is back in the house, and y'all know that means a fun day. Okay, happy birthday to Brett Brooks. God love him. He's made it to 23. Bless his heart. He started here as a mere baby. This is from Mom, Dad, and grandparents. So happy birthday, Brett. And you see him out quite often at football games, and he's usually holding a big old camera. And to Judy Gibson from her husband, happy birthday to you on July the 7th. There you go. We're going to go now to our sponsors and to my friend Rich Scott, who is also, he's an entrepreneur. He, at his age, decided that he wanted to clean up after people every weekend. The man bought a cabin rental business, and it's doing well. There's so many small businesses in our area who depend on referrals, who depend on us, who depend on if you stayed there and you liked it, send folks your way. We want to fill up the restaurants. We want to fill up the cabins. We want people to say, man, I can't wait to get to the North Georgia mountains. And we hope to be the destination of choice for many years to come. If you are in our area and you own a small business, when folks come in the door, let them know you're glad that they're there and thank them for being there. I think that is a big part of success. So, and to our ETC viewers, pour Lord, we love y'all to death, and thank you so much for being part of what we do. And I will see you live up close and in person in Fannin County this Saturday. I'll be there at 5 o'clock. The motorhome will be sitting out front. It'll probably be on the Golden Girls on that television. I'm trying to learn from the best. So we will be with y'all up in Fannin County. But right now, let's go to our sponsors, and then when we come back, here comes that Lucy Harris. We're back. Okay, busy day today. Lucy Harris is back with us. Y'all are going to think she's a Thursday regular. Well,
That's
she
right.
might be. Okay, Lucy, tell me who you brought with you today.
Today we have Brian Pritchard right here. He's from FetcherNews.com, and he's on the board of directors of Build an Ark, and this is Susan Littlejohn of Build an Ark.
And last time y'all saw Susan, she had a baby lamb here with her. She brought to the studio, and we had a really good day that day. And not long after that, a tornado came through. And the tornado did what?
It took the barn,
It did.
but it left the people and the animals.
Right.
And
Now,
it should have taken the people and animals, but we all survived.
lucky you. Where
Lucky.
are the
God blessed
animals?
us.
Where are the animals now?
A lot of them are still on the property. We are maintaining the best we can until we rebuild, which will be soon. And then we have friends that are keeping some of them.
Okay. Okay, now why did you get involved in this project?
Oh. We were covering it as a news story the next morning after the tornado. We went down and covered it as a news story, took some pictures and put it on our website. Jeff Parnas, the founder of New York Says Thank You Foundation, he caught that night about a 15-second clip, he said, on NBC, just a real quick clip, and it was about the Build an Ark Animal Rescue Foundation, the tornado. And he said, I need to check this out. So he started typing on the internet. He found stories from CNN and several other things. He flies down to meet with Susan. Susan calls my wife, Lisa, which is the volunteer coordinator for this project, and says, you need to come down here tomorrow on Saturday morning and meet this guy from New York. So I told Lucy this story, 14-mile drive. I grumbled all the way. Why am I driving 14 miles to meet some guy from New York?
Right.
And this better be something when I get there. I did. And when we got there, we were able to meet Jeff Parnas from New York that morning. We spent 3 hours with Susan and Jeff Parnas and talked. And basically that's how we started getting involved in the project.
And now that you're involved, it is almost addictive. Other people want to join, want to help. What can they do? That's part of what your job is. You are bringing people together.
Well, I have been trying to promote it on, just by answering people's questions and also by coming to visit you. And but I am still so overwhelmed by it. And I think last week I was talking, and the one thing that after I listened to myself, I went home and I listened, I went, oh, I missed the whole big picture point is that everybody in this community should get involved, and all parents. I don't see why you would not want to bring your children and all of their friends to help at the barn site, or to also, most importantly, see the living symbolism of the flag being stitched back together. I mean, just imagine you bring your child goes and stitches in a flag that was absolutely the witness to the most devastation that this country has seen in a long, long time. And you start to understand that what we are as Americans, when something bad happens, we put it back together, and it's better than it was before because we all work together, and we're filled with that amazing spirit of freedom and hope and love. It's just going to be a wonderful experience. I'm really excited about it. I
Now,
know.
Susan, did it blow your mind that this has all come together and you're just like sitting back and thinking, I cannot believe this is happening
I do
for
that
me?
every minute of every day. I get up and go, wow. It's so overwhelming because I've done nothing. I've done nothing to make it happen. I've done nothing to cause it to happen. It just bombarded. It just took off. It's like God said, we're going to start this all over. This is going to be a fresh new thing, even though it's not about the barn. It's not about building the animal rescue. It's about building the community and the extended community and the extended communities from there.
Have you ever heard the saying, those who walk with God always reach their destination?
Yes.
Do you think that this is part
yes.
of what is happening for you?
I do.
You were doing right, and then something horrible happened to you, and in reality, it is taking you on the best path ever.
Ever. It's a, you know, and I think about the other victims in tornadoes and how horrible it was. And I can only wish that some good things come out of it for them, because
No deaths in Gilmer County.
no deaths in Gilmer
County.
No
And we
deaths.
were there at your location the next day,
Yes,
and thinking, I wonder how many people were killed here, you know, and no one.
Did you hear about how many volunteers went to Joplin from all over America over the 4th of July weekend? 40,000 people
Wow.
from America.
Yeah.
See,
So
that's the thing.
America.
That
is
is
our
Well, you know, on that Saturday morning that we went down and we spent 3 hours with Jeff Parnas, and he started telling me about the New York Says Thank You Foundation. I went home and I went on the internet and I put a good 3 or 4 hours in researching who are these people, what are they doing here. And what's really exciting is Jeff Parnas and his son. The New York Says Thank You Foundation started in 2003. It was inspired by his 5-year-old boy. And what inspired them was after 9/11, America came and helped New York. They came and helped New York from Oklahoma, from Georgia, small towns all across America came to New York. And New Yorkers were overwhelmed with the compassion of the country. So they started this foundation and they said, we're going to pick a project every year. And we're going to go and help in that community where a man-made disaster or a natural disaster has taken place. And that's how the foundation started, and Jeff has a very long story of what inspired him to do that. In saying that, what's really exciting is, as it's gone along, there's just a couple. They've gone to Greensburg, Kansas, Little Sioux, Iowa, where the Boy Scout camp in 2009 was totally destroyed. New York Says Thank You Foundation goes out there with an army of volunteers and they put it back. Groesbeck, Texas, Slidell, Louisiana. These are some of the projects. If you go to NewYorkSaysThankYou.org, do the research, look at it. It's very exciting. I can't do it justice talking about it here. But what will happen when they come to Ellijay is they have a pay-it-forward system. So we won't only have volunteers coming from New York, we have volunteers coming from Louisiana, Texas, Kansas, and they keep picking up. And their whole ideal is to pay it forward. And in their mission statement on the website, it's to commemorate the love and support given to New Yorkers by Americans. As I was listening to Paul in your first segment, and we were talking about the economy, and we all know about the economy here in Gilmer County, July 28th through 31st, we have with volunteers almost every motel room's already taken, full. We have cabins that are starting to fill up. So this is going to be, for the community, a big bump, so economically. I just want to get one thing, and I hope I'm not overwhelming or taking too much. Jeff comes down, this is just how fast, and we never know tomorrow. And God is leading the way, and we follow what God's lead is. And
Absolutely.
I did not know this lady. I did not know Jeff Parnas. I didn't know Lucy Harris. I mean, I knew a lot about Lucy in the community, obviously, with her son. But when Jeff comes down, she says, I want to dedicate the weekend to Noah, the memory of Noah. I want to dedicate the weekend. And she brings up Noah's name, and Jeff says, I've got to go meet these people. He goes over, he spends a whole afternoon. He comes to me and he says, wow. He makes a phone call and he says, the 9/11 flag comes to Ellijay. Now, until you go on the website, until you get the history of the 9/11 flag that will be retired and put in the 9/11 museum, it's hard to grasp. And he makes a phone call and he says it comes back to Ellijay. Now, can I explain one thing? The 9/11 flag is going to all 50 states, and every state's participating. Georgia participated already last year in Atlanta.
I remember that.
It's coming back. So it's very, very important that on that Saturday that you go online to the 911flag.org, nominate a hero. It could be a teacher in your life that's been a hero. Write their story. If you nominate a hero and write their story, it's going to go in part of history. But if you don't do that, bring your children. Line up. They will let you stitch as long as the line is to the high school Saturday from 11 to 3, right, Lucy?
Right.
Right.
And,
Is it 11 to 3?
well, the ceremony is
the-
1 o'clock, I think,
Right.
the official
Yeah.
ceremony. But I really start getting wound up because it's exciting. Some people have said, well, why did they pick this barn? It's not so much they picked the barn to put it back. Jeff Parnas will tell you that everything the foundation's about is 9/12, not 9/11, 9/12. What the
Right.
spirit, the Americans coming together, and the community. So they pick a project in the community that they can surround the community about. So we really want the community to come out those weekends, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're going to have a music night. We're going to premiere the 9/11 movie, which you can watch the trailer on their website. There's a movie that's getting premiered that night. We're going to do it outdoors, the 9/11 movie. And the exciting thing is Ella J is going to be part of the 9/11 Museum. And
That is incredible.
So it just
It
is.
is. That's
So I didn't
It
mean
is
to. I didn't mean to get going.
No,
mean,
Yeah,
I'm
I
glad-
know.
Yeah.
You did what we needed to do. Now, volunteers, we even said if you can make a cake, if you can provide food, if you can provide snacks, that day will be a celebration.
A celebration.
A
yes.
celebration, a
Yes.
total celebration.
Well, we have a volunteer coordinator, and to keep it, because we do have, we need construction people. We're going to build an amphitheater.
I'm digging.
So we need people that want to rake, shovel. We need servers that want to help with food stations, things like that, parking. But we have a volunteer coordinator, and that's Lisa Pritchard. And you email her, and it's lisa@fetchyournews.com. And she is the coordinator, and what she will do is she will get it out to the people that need it. We have a food coordinator, we have a building coordinator, but if you'll go to lisa@fetchyournews.com and say what you want to do, or say, I just want to be there. We need people to help provide meals. If a company, we've had people say, well, we own a flower shop. How can a flower shop get involved? Let us know. Come down, put up a 10 by 10 tent, put the name of your flower shop up there, wear your flower shop t-shirts, represent your company, bring your grill and say, we're going to fix 60 hamburgers.
Right.
So it's not just, we need food, but it's not just the restaurants we're asking to get involved. It don't matter what company you have. You want to come down and help feed these men and women. One other thing is we will have so many, bring the kids that weekend. We have a program called Stars of Hope. And the kids will have a tent. You can bring your kids that day if you want to volunteer. The kids will have a tent where they'll do a craft and they'll paint a Star of Hope, which I, probably don't have time to go into what that program is. But there'll be things all weekend for people to do, and we need all kinds of help. People will be able to come out. Your children will be able to meet New York City first responders to 9/11, firefighters. Our firefighters will march in a parade with New York City firefighters,
Right.
arm in arm. We will
That's
meet,
gonna be
there
awesome.
will be widows and widowers of 9/11 that will be here to volunteer, that'll be working. So I have a lot of information I could.
10 years.
Yes,
Yeah, this is the
absolutely.
10th.
This is
10
10th year
years. It is
anniversary.
amazing. It is amazing that 10 years ago America was, they tried to destroy us and they made us stronger, didn't they?
Absolutely.
They tried to destroy us and they made us stronger. What a bunch of idiots.
Well, I'm not surprised that on the
that does
eve of
happen.
all of this,
Yeah.
that the flag and the project is coming to LJ. Because to me, this is, the mountains is a land of heroes. People who always pitch in. I don't think I've ever had a flat tire that I didn't have at least 2 or 3 people pull over and help me change my tire, or
Right.
lift a box, or do whatever it was that I was trying to do, opening the door. I mean, the kids still say yes, ma'am, and yes, sir, here. I mean, it's
Well,
a
you know what
wonderful
we've got to
thing.
do right now? I have a lady who has a birthday, and they actually sent this to my personal email. I forwarded, or actually sent it to the personal email. Freddie sent it to me. I sent it to North Georgia Now today, and now we're finally getting it on. Miss Louise Thomas, happy birthday to you on July the 6th from Kim and Becky, and happy birthday to you. And Kim, hope you're having a great day today. Happy birthday to Louise on July the 6th. We have a lot of special local things we do, whether it be birthdays or prayer requests, and I want to talk about something I did yesterday. I did a special prayer request. Somebody sent me a message about my friend David White. And when I read what it said, I had a very shocking look on my face. I was very shocked because we knew there was some diagnosis going on. We knew there's some things. Don't speculate. No, he doesn't have cancer. No, he doesn't have this. He has a problem, and it is going to be resolved. He is going to be dealing with this and in some clinical trials, and just do one thing for me. Please pray for my friend David White. He is an amazing man, and I think I shocked myself when I looked down and read it. I was not going to disclose anything about what's going on with David until he's ready for y'all to know. But he's going through a lot of tests, a lot of blood work, a lot of things.
Of each month, a guaranteed $800 jackpot.
Please pray for him. He is one of the good guys. You know, there are a lot of good guys in this community, and we want to say a very special welcome home to Stephen Kincaid. He is home on R&R from Afghanistan, and whether y'all know it or not, we've been hollering it's hot here. I understand in Afghanistan it gets to about 120.
120.
Yeah, yay. So when I'm whining me about the temperature, man, this kid is home on a little vacation. So there you go. Welcome home, Stephen Kincaid, and maybe he'll be with us before he goes back. That would be fun. Well, our time is gone, but y'all are going to be back in the next couple of weeks. We're going to do this one more time, and you're going to bring the guy on from New York. We've got 30 seconds. Hopefully, yes.
Well, I'll get with him. We'll
Hopefully.
get with him this week, see what his schedule
Okay, we'll
is.
see if we can bring him on. We want you to be part of this celebration in Gilmer County. From North Georgia Now today, it's time to do something. I just don't say goodbye, so I will say see you later. Here comes my buddy Rich Scott. Next week we'll talk about this again. Please be a part of something very special for Gilmer County. From North Georgia Now today, I'm Cherie, and I'm out of here.